Hello guys, welcome. Welcome to Asutosh coaching center. Now today we are going to start. The chapter name is Principle of Inheritance and Variation. ओके यहाँ तो कोई किसी को कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगा. देखो, जीनेटिक्स होता क्या है. जीनेटिक्स द स्टडी ऑफ प्रिंसिपल एंड द मैकेनिज्म ऑफ हेरिडिटी एंड द वेरिएशन. जॉर्ज जॉनहन मेंडल इज नोन एज द फादर ऑफ जीनेटिक्स. ओके, इसे जॉर्ज जो थे इनको मतलब जो थे ना वही उनके फादर ऑफ जीनेटिक्स के नाम से जानते हैं, मतलब जो जनक कहते हैं जीनेटिक्स का. ठीक है, उसके बाद क्या कह रहा है, इनहेरिटेंस क्या होता है. इनहेरिटेंस इज द प्रोसेस बाय विच कैरेक्टराइज्ड आर पास्ड फ्रॉम पेरेंट टू द प्रोजेनी एंड इट इज़ बेसिक ऑफ हेरिडिटी. इनहेरिटेंस में क्या होता है, मतलब उसका जो कैरेक्टर होता है ना वो पेरेंट से उसके प्रोजेनी तक आता है, उसी को इनहेरिटेंस कहते हैं. एंड द वेरिएशन क्या होता है. Variation is the degree by which progeny differ from their parents, and the variation may be in the term of morphological, physiological, cytological, and the behavioristic traits of the individual belonging in the same species. Okay, and variation arises due to the reshuffling of gene chromosome crossing over or recombination and the mutation and the effect of environment. Mendel's law of inheritance क्या कहता है. Mendel's conducted the hybridization experiment on a garden pea and Pisum sativum and for 7 years. Okay, proposed the law of inheritance in the living organism. उसके बाद क्या है, मतलब कि जो थे एक मटर पे ही 7 साल तक एक्सपेरिमेंट किया था, पता नहीं क्या खुजली मचा होगा इसको. तो पहले साइंटिस्ट कुछ ऐसे ही थे, ठीक है ना. लेकिन कुछ भी कहो, कोयला कितना भी काला हो लेकिन होता तो अपना ही है ना. हालांकि बुराई नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं, सॉरी फॉर डैट, बट ही इज़ अ ग्रेट साइंटिस्ट दिल से. ओके, नाउ आगे पढ़ते हैं. सिलेक्शन ऑफ द पी प्लांट. पी प्लांट का सिलेक्शन क्यों हुआ. देखो, द मेन रीजन फॉर द अडॉप्टिंग द गार्डन एंड द पाइजम सटाइवम फॉर द एक्सपेरिमेंट बाय द मेंडल वर फर्स्ट. ए पी हैज़ मैनी डिस्टिंक्ट कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग कैरेक्टर. बी लाइफ स्पैम ऑफ पी इज प्लांट इज शॉर्ट एंड सी नंबर है. Flowers show self-replication, reproductive walls and beings encloses and by the corolla and D number. It is easy to artificial cross-pollination and the peak flowers and the hybrid thus produces the were fertile. Okay, working method. Mendel's success also due to the his meticulous and the planning the method of work, and his first number he studied only one character at the time. Second he used to available technique to avoid the cross pollination by the undesirable pollen grains. Third number he applied the mathematical and statistical to analyze the result obtained by the him. And fourth number Mendel selected 7 contrasting character of garden P of for this hybridization his experiment. उसके बाद है contrasting character studied by the Mendel in P. इसका भी आप इसको भी ध्यान कर ले तो ज़्यादा बेटर होगा मेरे ख्याल से. ओके देखो जैसे कि यहाँ पे दे रखा है, जैसे कि स्टीम हाइट, किसी स्टीम का जो हाइट होता है वो कैसे है, तो ये तो टॉल होगा तो डॉर्फ ही होगा. फ्लावर का जो कलर होता है तो वॉयलेट होगा तो वो वाइट होगा. यही उसका क्या है, कॉन्ट्रास्टिंग कैरेक्टर हो सकता है. Mendels conducted artificially hybridization and cross pollination using true breeding pea lines. True breeding lines are those that undergo the continuous self pollination and so stable their traits and inheritance. Hybridization experiments include the emasculation and removal of anther and the transfer of pollen and the pollination. Inheritance of one gene and monohybrid क्रॉस क्या होता है. मेंडल्स क्रॉस टॉल एंड ड्वार्फ पी प्लांट एंड collected all the seeds obtained from this cross, and he grew all the seeds to generate and the plant of first hybrid and generation called F1 generation. He observed that all pea plant are the tall. Similar observation was also found in other pair of traits. Mendel self-pollinated that the F1 plants and found that is F2 generation. Some plants are also dwarf, and the proportion of dwarf plant is 1/4 and a tall plant of 3/4. The Mendel called the factor and that passes through the gametes and from one generation to next generation Nowadays, it is called genomes. Genes that code of a pair of contrasting traits are called allele, and alphabetical symbols are used to represent each gene, and capital letter T for the genetics and the F1 generation expressed in F1 generation, and small letter double T for the other generation. Mendel also proposed that in true breeding, tall and dwarf variety allelic pair of genes of for height and is homozygous. Capital T is or small t small t. Capital T small t are the genotypic, and the tall dwarf called phenotypic. ओके. ड्वार्फ हम लोग phenotypic कहेंगे और टॉल को हम लोग जीनोटाइपिक, मतलब जीनोटाइपिक नहीं कहता, ऐसे ही समझ बात समझा करो. इसका फोटो ले लो, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. The hybrid which contain allele which express the contrasting trait are called heterozygous, like capital T small t, and the monohybrid ratio of F2 hybrid and the 3:1 phenotypic, and 1 is to 2 is to 1 is genotypic, and the test cross is the cross between the individual and with the dominant traits and a recessive organism in order to know whether the dominant trait is homozygous for or heterozygous. Principle or laws of inheritance. Based on the observation of monohybrid cross, and the Mendel proposed the law of inheritance, the law of abdominance, and it stated that the first characters are the controlled by the discrete unit called factor, and the factors always occur in pair, and in a dissimilar pair of factor, one member of pair dominate the other. The dominance and the recessive, इसके बीच में अंतर देख लीजिए और इसको पढ़ ही आसानी से रट लीजिएगा, क्योंकि ये आप लोग एग्ज़ाम के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बहुत काम आएगा आपके. और इसका स्क्रीनशॉट में छोटा कर लीजिए ताकि ये बाद में आपके समझ में भी आए, अदरवाइज ऐसा. नाउ लॉज ऑफ सिग्रीगेशन क्या कहते हैं. एलिस डू नॉट ब्लेंड, both characters are recovered during the gamete formation as in F2 generation. During the gametes formation, traits segregate and separate from each other and passes through different gametes. Homozygous produces similar kind of genes gametes, but heterozygous produces two the different kinds of gametes with other different traits. Incomplete dominance. It is a post-Mendelian discovered, and incomplete dominance is the phenomena or either of neither of the two alleles being dominant, so that the expression in the hybrid is a fine mixture or indeterminate between the expression of two alleles. In Snapdragon, Mirabilis, Jalapa, and there are two types of pure breeding plant, red flower and the white flower. On crossing of the two F1 plants process a pink color, and and the selfing them, the F2 generation has one red and is to two pink is two and one white. The pink flower is due to the incomplete dominance. उसका क्या को dominance क्या होता है. It is the phenomena of allele lacking dominance recessive relationship and both expressing themselves in the organism, and human beings ABO blood grouping are the controlled by gene 1. The gene has three allele IA, IB, I, ठीक है ना, and person by the content by any two of three allele IA, IB and are called are dominant over I. The plasma membrane of red blood cell and has sugar polymers that protrude from its surface, and the kind of sugar is controlled by the gene. When IA and IEB present together, both express their own types of sugars, and because of the codominance. Difference between the incomplete dominance and the codominance, इसके बारे में फोटो आप ले ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होगा, क्योंकि इसके पीछे टाइम बर्बाद करने से अच्छा है आप इसको अकेले में ही पढ़ ले. इस वीडियो को जितना छोटा बनाया उतना ज़्यादा फ़ायदेमंद होगा ये वीडियो. यस, इट्स इनफ. उसके बाद हमारा मल्टीपल एलील्स क्या होता है. दे आर मल्टीपल फॉर्म्स ऑफ अ मेंडेलियन फैक्टर और अ जीन which occurred or on the same genes locus distributed in different organisms. In the gene pool with an organism carrying only two alleles and a gametes only the one allele. ABO blood grouping also provides a good example of multiple allele. उसके बाद क्या है हमारा inheritance of gene and hybrid and the hybrids cross and a cross made to study and simultaneously inheritance of two pair of Mendelian factor of gene. The law of independence and assortment. The law states that when two pairs of traits are combined in a hybrid, segregation of one pair of character is independent and of the other pair of character. In hybrid of cross, two new combination and the round green and the wrinkle yellow are formed due to the independent assortment of traits and out for shape, and that is round, wrinkle and seed color, and that is yellow and green. And the ratio of 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1 can be derived from the combination of series of 3 is to yellow and 1 is to green, and with round 3 is to 1 wrinkle. Okay, the derivation can be written as follow. First 3 is to 1 wrinkle and 3 is to 1 green and 9 round, 3 yellow wrinkle and yellow and is to 3 round and is 3 is to sorry green is to 1 wrinkle and मतलब बोलते हैं ये wrinkle and green. Chromosomal theory of inheritance. Chromosomal as well as a gene both occur in a pair, and both the two alleles of a gene pair are located on the same locus or homologous chromosome. Sutton or Boveri argued that the pairing and the separation of a pair chromosome would lead to segregation of a pair of factor gene, and they carried. Sutton united the king of chromosomal segregation with the Mendelian and the pairs principle and called the chromosomal theory of inheritance. The linkage and the recombination. When the two genes in a hybrid cross were situated on a same chromosome, proportion of parent gene and combination as the much higher than non-parental type. Morgan attributed this due to the physical association or the linkage of the two genes, and the coined the linkage to describe the physical association of the genes on the same chromosome. The generation of non-parental gene combination during the hybrid cross is called recombination. When the genes are located on the same chromosome, they are tightly linked and show very low recombination. The difference between the crossing over and the linkage. द डिफरेंस बिटवीन क्रॉसिंग ओवर एंड लिंकेज के बारे में दे रखा है, इसके बारे में आप पढ़ लें, इसका स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो, बहुत काम आएगा. ओके, नाउ देखते हैं सेक्स डिटर्मिनेशन क्या होता है. In 1891, Hacking observed a trace of specific nuclear and structure in a few insects. He also observed that the specific nuclear structure is located on the 50% sperms only. He is called X-body, and he was not able to explain its significance. Later, it was observed that the ovum that receive the sperm with X body and becomes female, and those not becomes male. Okay. hmm. and and so the X body was called sex chromosome, and other chromosome are called autosomes. Okay. In humans and other organisms, XY type of sex determination is seen, but some insect like Drosophila and exotype of sex determination is present. In both type of sex determination, two different types of gametes, either with or without X chromosome, or some X chromosome and some Y chromosome. Such types of sex determination are called male heterogamety. In but ZW of sex determination is present, and the two types of gametes are produced by the female in the term of chromosomal. This type of sex determination is called female heterogamete. And sex determination in the human beings XY type, and out of 23 pairs of chromosome and 23 pairs of exactly same in the male and the female called autosome. The pair of X chromosome is present in female and XY in male, and during the spermatogenesis and Male produces two types of gamete sperms and 50% carries Y chromosome, and the remaining 50% of contain X chromosome. Female produce only one kind of gamete, ovum, and having X chromosome. Only when a sperm having Y chromosome, the sex of the baby is male, and when a sperm carrying X chromosome and fertile the egg, the sex body is called female. Okay. And mutation, this mutation a phenomena which result in alteration of DNA sequence and consequently result in the change in the genotypes and the phenotype of an organism, and the mutation and that arise due to the change in a single base pair of DNA are called mutation. Example, sickle cell anemia. Pedigree analysis. Analysis of traits in several of generation of a family is called pedigree. Okay, मतलब कि several generation, देखो इसको ध्यान रखना, मतलब ये होता क्या है पेडिग्री एनालिसिस काफ़ी एग्जाम के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से काम आएगा। ये पूरा ही ओके, ये पूरा ही बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। ओके, या तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं होना चाहिए। Inheritance of a particular traits is represented in a family over a several generation. It is used to trace the inheritance of a particular trait and abnormality and diseases. The genetic disorder क्या होता है? Broadly, and genetic disorder may be grouped into two categories: Mendelian disorders and chromosomal disorder. Mendelian disorder क्या होता है? फर्स्ट में इसमें है these are due to the alteration of in a single gene, and second है they are transmitted into a generation through the Mendelian principle of inheritance, and third हमारा they may be recessive or dominant in nature, and उसके बाद हमारा है example color blindness and the phaeokinomia. Okay, and the chromosomal disorder क्या होता है? These are caused due to the absence or excess of one or more chromosome, abnormal arrangement of one or more chromosomes. They are transmitted as the affected individual is sterile. This is always dominant in nature, and example Down syndrome and Turner syndrome. Mendelian disorder क्या होता है? Hemophilia sex linked recessive disease in which in an affected individual a minor cut and lead to non-stop bleeding. Heterozygous female carrier and can transmit that disease to their son, and the possibility of female becoming a hemophilic is a extreme rare because mother of such female has to be least carrier and father could be hemophilic. B हमारा sickle anemia, the autosome linked recessive trait in which mutant hemoglobin molecules and undergo polymerization under low oxygen tension, causing change in the shape of RBC and from the biconvex disc to the elongate sickle like structure. The defect is caused by the subsequently and the glutamic acid glue and by the valine and the val at the sixth position of the beta globin chain of the hemoglobin molecules. Substitution of the amino acid in the globin protein result due to a single base constituent at the sixth codon and of the beta globin genes of a GUAG and to GUG. Phenyl ketonuria. In inborn error of metabolism and inherited as the autosomal recessive trait, the affected individual lacks as the enzymes that convert into the amino acid and the phenylalanine and to tyrosine. As a result of phenylalanine to the accumulated and the converted into phenyl provic acid and the other derivatives that result into the mental retardation. The chromosomal disorder, failure of segregation of chromatids during the cell division and result in loss gain or chromosome is called aneuploidy. The failure of cytokinesis leads to sets of chromosome called polyploidy. First, Down syndrome. It is due to the presence of additional copy of chromosome number of 21, and the affected individual is short, saturated, and with a small rounded head and the followed tongue and a partially opened mouth, and the mental developed is retarded. Neifel syndrome. It is due to the presence of an additional copy of X chromosome and double XY, and such person have over overall masculine develop. However, the feminine development of breast, that is gynecomastia, and is expressed they are sterile. Turner syndrome. It is caused due to the absence of one of the X chromosome and 45 with the X and such females are as sterile already and rudimentary, and they are lack of they lack the secondary sexual reactor. And guys, this chapter has been completely finished, so please like, share and more subscribe. You are a part of journey, तो जितना हो सके इस वीडियो को लाइक शेयर एंड सब्सक्राइब कर दो. एंड बाय बाय, सी यू इन नेक्स्ट वीडियो.